Hey, I'm Mel, and welcome to my podcast, Life Unscripted. Episode 1 is just going to be a little bit about me and my life and myself, and I just want to jump straight into it. I've been on social media for a few years, about 14 years, over all different platforms, and I love listening to podcasts, so I wanted to try and come up with my own podcast. So I'm so excited. I've been planning this for a little while, and hopefully you guys enjoy it as much as I love making it. As time goes on, things will get better, things will change, we will have people on as well. So I just want to get into a little bit about me and my life. So sit back, grab a coffee. I love a good coffee with a podcast. So about me and my life. I am 35 years old. I was born in 1989. I have a younger sister. My childhood was the typical 90s childhood where we came inside when the lights came on at night time. We played in the mud. We were always on our bikes, always playing with our friends and neighborhood kids. It was awesome. Nothing, thankfully, huge really happened when I was a kid. Cut my foot open, got some stitches, WAG school, just the usual stuff. But when I was a teenager, I really struggled socially, and I have always been overweight and a bigger person, and I never was really confident. And this led me to going on to dating, not even just dating, they weren't dating sites, chat sites, where you can chat to people from all over the world, all over Australia, anywhere. And I ended up chatting to a guy, and we ended up becoming long distance boyfriend and girlfriend for 9 months, and he actually moved over to be with me. So he was in the other side of Australia to me. And he moved here. We fell madly in love, typical young love. We ended up falling pregnant when I was 19. So we met when I was 15 online. And then I was 16 when he moved here. At 19, we had moved out. We were in our own home. We were renting. And we decided to have a baby. I was working in childcare at the time. I was obsessed. I love kids so much. I actually have 3 kids. And I have thought many times about going back and working in childcare, but now having my own kids, I really don't think that I could do it. But I do love babies and young kids, and they're just amazing. But life kind of plodded along. I loved being a mum. I love being a mum. It was hard. We didn't have help or support close. We were very alone. I lost all of my friends. It was definitely hard at times, but it also had its really amazing times. We decided that when our daughter was about to turn 1, that we wanted to try for baby number 2. And it took a very long time, so it wasn't happening. We decided, we had moved house in that time. We decided we were engaged. We were engaged for 5 years, and that we wanted to get married. And maybe if we stopped thinking about trying for a baby, it would just naturally happen. So in 2012, we got married, and it was a magical day. It wasn't the wedding that we had always planned or wanted, but it was still a really good day. There was bits and pieces that I would have gone back and changed, but overall we loved it. We were happy. We were married like we wanted to be. And we had a pretty average life. I don't know, thankfully, it was a really average life, and nothing bad really happened. We had our ups and downs, as you do when you're with somebody. But in 2015, we had been trying for baby number 2. I saw specialists, and they said, sorry, but we can't help you until you lose weight. And then I went and saw a doctor who actually referred me to get weight loss surgery, and I got approved and accepted. And I went and had the gastric sleeve in 2015, and I lost lost almost 60 kilos, which meant that fertility would be more accessible for me. And we went and saw a gynecologist. They gave us a Clomid because they did some testing and they were like, you know, it doesn't look like you're ovulating. This will make you ovulate, like it forces your body to ovulate pretty much. And she said, you know, go get the script filled, wait for your period, and then she gave me the days on which I needed to take it on my period or on my cycle. So we went and did that, and I was waiting and waiting, waited a few days, waited a few more days, and my period didn't come. And I remember where I was in the bedroom sorting out our wardrobe for some random reason at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I just felt the need to do like a pregnancy test, and I did it, and the slightest line came up and literally my heart stopped. I was in shock. I went and made the girl's dad go out and buy a digital because I was like, are you serious? Like, I was just using a real cheapy test. So he went and did that, and I took it and it said pregnant, and I was just in total shock. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. After all that time, we hadn't even had like a chemical pregnancy. We hadn't had any sort of pregnancy, no miscarriages, nothing, which I'm so grateful for. But at the same time, like, there was nothing. Like, I really didn't think I was going to see those 2 pink lines ever again. And yeah, we welcomed our second daughter into the world in August of 2016. So both of our girls are August babies, 7 years apart, which is crazy. But I was so worried about the age gap, but even looking back now, the age gap has been incredible for us and our family. And again, like, we just plodded along, you know, took life's ups and downs. We had, you know, things happen, just average things. There was something significant happen in 2018 that I won't be touching on. It's not my place to say. But that kind of started to break my marriage down a little bit. Just dealing with things differently, coping with things in different ways. And in 2019, my husband at the time decided to ask my male best friend to be my boyfriend and bring him into the marriage. And it was like sort of, I guess, a kink. He got a rise over seeing me with another man, and yeah, it was all really hush-hush. It was a very, very uncommon thing. Now it is quite common, like, you see it everywhere. And feelings got involved pretty fast and pretty heavy. And I ended up falling for my best friend so hard. And he just was showing me how a relationship should look like and what things I should be looking for in a person, in a man that I wanted to be with, and just showing me that maybe my marriage wasn't working and wasn't the best situation. And like, if you can fall out of love with someone that quickly, then I don't think that is the right person for you. And, you know, I'm so grateful because I have my girls, and I don't regret ever being in my previous relationship. For all the, you know, ups and downs and the good, you know, I could never say that I regret it, because without that I wouldn't be where I am today. But in March we decided to call it quits, and he ended up moving out. And then, yeah, I was a single mum. I did a lot alone. I kept a lot alone, like, you know, as you do, which you've got to be strong for your kids and my mental health and everything. I just tried to stay strong for my babies because it was a really tough situation. You know, my girls were turning 10 and 3. In July that year, I got a phone call from the hospital after being referred to the plastics clinic to get skin removal, because after 60 kilos of weight and being big, my entire life. Like, I don't think I've seen a photo of me ever where I am not overweight. I had a lot of skin that caused a lot of irritation and just a lot of pain, and I was accepted again, which I was so incredibly thankful for. And they booked me in for a fleur-de-lis, I'm pretty sure is what I think it's called, and they basically go an incision from your pelvic bone to your other pelvic bone, and then from in between the bottom of your boobs all the way down to that line where they cut across your pelvic area. And yeah, so that happened only 2 months later in September, which is absolutely crazy because it'll be 6 years in 2 months since that has happened. And that was like so hard because obviously I had the 2 girls to look after, and my best friend, who is now my husband, he was there with me every single night through that, just to be there for me. And my mum came to help me, I think, for like a week during the day after I had gotten home, because you're not allowed to pick up your kids or really anything after that sort of surgery. And with my youngest at the time being 3, that was really hard. So I had to sit down to cuddle her, and she was like so young. So that extra help was incredible. Yeah, I'm still in awe that I was able to get that. And a lot of people will say that getting weight loss surgery was the easy way out, and getting my skin removed was the easy way out, instead of like doing sit-ups to get abs. Well, I had that much skin, that wasn't going to happen. And I still struggle today with certain things because I've had weight loss surgery, and I can promise you that it is not the easy way out. And yeah, so 2019 was insane, and I lost so many people who I thought would be in my life forever. They just didn't like the choices I was making. They didn't like that I left my husband. Some of it was silly, some of it, they had valid reasons. If they wanted to be friends with him, I just couldn't be friends with them anymore, especially when they were my close friends. And I still have trust issues to this day when it comes to making friends, because I'm just terrified that everybody is just going to leave or use me, or just use me to get information and those sorts of things. But in October, Chris and I decided that we wanted to be together, and we did. And it was the absolute best decision that I know myself, and hopefully he would say himself as well, could have made, because he changed my life for the best, and he is just the most amazing husband, dad. He's just incredible. He's so romantic, he's so affectionate, he is just everything I want in a person, and I'm so glad that I have him. We ended up moving in together properly at the start of 2020, right before COVID happened, and COVID was just crazy. Kids stopped, the kids weren't in school anymore, they were at home, and the world was crazy. You guys would know, you went through it as well. But I am so thankful that Chris built his house before COVID, because I don't think he would have been able to do it as quick as he did otherwise, and we'd probably still be waiting for it to be built. But yeah, we ended up moving. My eldest moved schools, which was such a good move for her. She was thriving. Co-parenting was going really well, hit and miss, it was just, we were still trying to navigate through it, and it was not easy. And those who have co-parented before would probably relate to that. But we decided Chris decided that he wanted to be married to me, and he actually proposed to me on Mother's Day 2020. Him and my eldest set it up, and it was the sweetest thing ever. And then that next morning, I actually did a pregnancy test. I was cleaning. We had spoke about having kids, and hubby actually has a neurological condition, disability, where it affects his legs. So he's actually in a wheelchair outside of the house, and he uses a walking stick inside the house, and eventually he will have a wheelchair inside the house. But there's a 50-50 chance that any child he conceives will have his condition. And so we spoke about this. I did a lot of research. He did research. We spoke to professionals, and we decided that we were going to try for a baby. And the day after he proposed, the day after Mother's Day, I just felt this need whilst I was cleaning to do a pregnancy test, and it came back positive, and I just could not believe it. I was so shocked because we got pregnant first try, and it was really the hardest pregnancy that I ever had mentally, because we had to go through genetic testing and to see if the baby had Chris's condition, and then there was a lot of conversation about termination and, you know, what to expect, and, you know, having a child with disabilities and those sorts of things. And we did the testing. We also kept the pregnancy a secret from majority of the people in our lives until we had those results back. And we shed so many tears. It was so hard to be positive during that time because it's not anything that we could control. And we ended up getting the testing. I got a CVS, so they go in, they like give you an anesthetic shot, and then they put a needle into your stomach. All of this is like via ultrasound, and again, it was during COVID, so I did it all alone. Like, I couldn't have Chris there with me. And they put a needle in, and they take a bit of the placenta, and they check the baby's DNA through the placenta. And they called us a week later. They said that the baby didn't have Down syndrome. Genetically, he was perfect. He was a male, which was really cool. And also that he didn't have his condition, which was a shock. It was almost like I had told myself he wasn't going to have it, and then Chris almost talked himself into he was going to have it. So it was a complete shock, and as soon as I got that phone call, I called Chris at work because I just couldn't hold it in anymore. I was just so excited to tell him, and yeah, it was such an amazing moment. And yeah, I was so much better after we had that news, and we knew that he was happy and healthy, and we started to tell people. Obviously people ask, like, does he have it, like, is there a chance he'll have it, those sorts of things, and we were able to give him an answer, which is what we were expecting people to say and that sort of thing. We also announced that we were having a boy, so after 2 girls to a previous partner, we were having a little boy together, and he is like the sweetest little mini of Chris ever. Yeah, it was amazing. And during that time, hubby changed jobs, like a complete 360. He went from like being a mechanic to a parts interpreter, and now he works with people just like himself who have disabilities, which is really cool. In 2022 we got married. We actually eloped in our backyard, and it was so special. I had my cousin and Chris's best friend there as well with the kids. We did like this little sand keepsake where we all had different color sand, and it was magical. There was no pressure. We did everything the way we wanted. It was actually raining that day, and people that would have been invited to our wedding, some of them had COVID. So there was a lot of people that whinged and complained and didn't like that we eloped and that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, we did what we wanted to do, and it was magic and just so intimate and beautiful, and we don't regret a single thing. And I love that. Since then, we have had our middle daughter diagnosed with autism, so we have gone through a lot of struggles with that, and just fighting for her, and being her biggest advocates, and you just realize how the world isn't built for people with disabilities. Like, I was shocked with just how things are so different for those with disabilities. Like, I didn't grow up with a disability myself. My nana was in a wheelchair from my whole life pretty much, and all I really saw was like when we went out of the house with her. But having a child and then having my husband with a disability, you really come to see that the world isn't made for people with disabilities, and I would love for that to change so much, because it is so unfair that they're treated so differently, especially like kids with autism, and special needs kids in general, that can't fight for themselves, don't understand, can't advocate for themselves yet. And yeah, it's just, I feel it very strong, like as a wife and as a mother, to advocate for those that I love. Yeah, but right now we are in a really good spot. We are happy. We take it day by day, just like everybody else. You know, we have good and we have bad days, but I wanted to start this podcast to be able to post weekly episodes. We hopefully will have, you know, like questions that you guys can answer, maybe like a weekly favorite or a bit of weekly advice. Maybe you guys could send in some questions. We could do maybe a shorter episode one day during the week where we talk about something that maybe you guys have sent in. Or just remember, I haven't done this before. I've not been a part of a podcast. I've not done a podcast. This is all so new to me, and hopefully it'll come naturally to me. And yeah, I'm just excited to see where this takes us and what we can do, who we can talk to, stories that we can tell, maybe awareness that we can bring to things. I've got so many things I could talk about. Like, I have a list, an ongoing list, where I'm constantly writing like bits and pieces down to talk about. And I feel like I could talk, you know, for 30 minutes on one specific thing, and then to have somebody come in and be on the podcast with me. I know hubby's going to do one with me, and we can talk about his disability and how he has grown up with it, because his disability is neurological in his brain, and he didn't start showing signs until he was a teenager. And then as he's grown up and like now he's in his mid-30s, it's changed, and it's changing all the time. And unfortunately, it's going to get worse as he gets older. But I adore him, and he is such an inspiration to me. My kids are just incredible. We have our hard days. We do struggle, but they're the reason I get up in the morning, and the reason that I just keep fighting, because I feel like I was born to be a mum. And yeah, sometimes it's like, oh, just go back to bed, like I just want to sleep in. I adore them, and I wouldn't change them at all. We get through the bad together. We have such a good relationship. You know, my girls and my baby boy, he's always going to be my baby boy, although he's like, what, 4.5, which is crazy. But yeah, like being married to your best friend is something that I never thought I could say. Like, I'm legitimately married to my best friend, and it was the best decision I made to be his girlfriend almost 6 years ago, which is crazy to say. I can't believe that it's been 6 years. But yeah, thanks for sticking around and listening. Hopefully you guys have found this somewhat interesting. Let me know what you think. I'm hoping to get a new pod out every maybe Wednesday at this point. Yeah, you can find me on my socials. I will have those linked, but at the moment we've got Insta, TikTok, YouTube, and possibly a Facebook. So you can contact me and find me on there. But for now, I hope to hear positive feedback, and hopefully you'll be here for next Wednesday's podcast, and I will talk to you then. Bye guys.